Senate Bill 1110, a bill relating to State Corporation Commission approval of utility facilities.
The senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you again, Mr. President. I rise to speak in support and move its passage of Senate Bill 1110. And speaking to that more,
Senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, Senate Bill 1110 has garnered some concern out in Virginia, and I think that concern is not well taken and mistaken. Senate Bill 1110 comes from trying to clean up what it was my bill in 2012. Mr. President, members of this body, in 2012, we were having a problem in our area in Southside Virginia because we were building these mega parks, industrial parks, and trying to bring in prospects, corporations to come and relocate in our area and then have them build their facility there at the park. The problem was that bringing the electricity to that park, naturally APCO, who is our service provider, Appalachian Power Company, would not bring that line unless we had a contract. And if we had a contract then, to get that line approved, those transmission lines and the transfer stations, you had to come back up here to Richmond and go to the SCC, the State Corporation Commission. And that would take 11 to 14 months. And by that time, I tell you, Mr. President, most of the times, even considering that, those companies were going to North Carolina, where the approval process was more streamlined. So in 2012, I put a bill together, and it passed unanimously out of this body and the body across the hall, that allowed the localities, the local governments, to work with AEP, APCO, not Dominion, APCO, to put these transmission lines in what they call 138 kV lines. It's the only kind of lines we use down there. They're rarely used anywhere else. APCO is the main provider of that. To bring those lines in by going and seeking approval for the placement and the construction with the local government. It was working out great. It's working out in Commonwealth Crossing. You know, we're working with the locality. The locality's working with APCO to make sure this happens in a quick manner. It shortened it from 14 months to 5 to 6 months, allowing us to be more competitive in bringing these jobs back to Southside Virginia. The problem with it is when we wrote the bill, I wrote the bill and it said transmission line. It didn't say transfer station or anything else. Well, a case that went before the Supreme Court said that, as it should have been, that words are taken for their literal meaning and you don't add to them, you don't take away from them. And because it did not have the language transfer station in there, that only the locality could approve the line of transmission, but not the transfer station, causing APCO to have to go back to the State Corporation Commission, which defeated the whole purpose of the bill. Because if they were going to have to go back to the State Corporation Commission, we're back to the 11, 14 months to get everything approved. So this bill adds transfer station in there. And it does not take away local control. In fact, it enhances local government control of this process, Mr. President, and here's why. Right now, as the law stands, when you go to the State Corporation Commission to get approval of these lines, the zoning is presumed and subsumed, taken away. It's all of that. The local has no authority. The local government has absolutely no authority. This bill does subsume that in that as well, but it allows the locality 100% involvement in the approval process rather than having it done by a state body known as the State Corporation Commission. So this doesn't take away local powers. It enhances them. It speeds up the process in our area specifically. It has nothing to do with Prince William County, as I've heard over and over from people who have contacted my office. Nothing. Let me say that one more time, Mr. President. Nothing to do with Prince William County or Dominion or anything else. This is a bill for Southside and Southwest so that we can make local control for the transmission of these lines, the construction of these transmission lines and the stations at our mega parks and industrial parks. And that's the bill, Mr. President. And for those reasons, I renew my motion that Senate Bill 1110 pass.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Mr. President, I rise to speak in support of the bill. I think the gentleman has stated it exactly correctly. This was a unique situation with the 138 kilovolt lines, which are unique to the APCO service area. And I do remember the 2012 legislation. So while I'm hardly here at the behest of the power companies. I think in this case, the bill makes sense. So I hope we support it.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall Senate Bill 1110 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their votes. Aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 30, noes 10.
Ayes 30, noes 10. The bill passes.
Senate